Alors bonsoir.
So, good evening, everybody, and welcome to this regular public meeting of the Dieppe City Council this Monday, 27th of June. To begin this meeting, I would like to maybe say a couple of words on a resolution that will be presented to the council. We know that the arena, the centenaire, the centenary, by its name, is starting to become old because we're going to be celebrating next year our 150th anniversary of the country. The arena was built in 1967 during the celebrations for the 100 years of Canada. So we're not sure how long it will be able to last, this centenaire arena, because we're meeting up with problems and we have to spend amounts of money which are very high in order to continue to operate the arena. So we have to kickstart a process for the post-Arena Centenaire, knowing that its useful life is coming to an end. So there will be a resolution tonight that is going to be presented, whose objective is to let us start the process to establish the needs, community needs as well as ICE needs, with maybe a broader vision of things and to determine what type of infrastructure will best address our needs as a community. I know that sometimes when there are resolutions that are brought forth to council, there's not that much explanation given, but I do believe it's important during this meeting to talk about this item, which will be at 10.1.1 on the agenda, which is basically the at 10.1.1, it's called the Multi-Generational Community Complex Functional and Technical Program. So that's all for the announcements for tonight. So we're going to go to the opening word. Dear colleagues, may we have the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can change, and the wisdom to know the difference. So we have a quorum tonight. Everyone here. Are there any declarations of conflicts of interest? No declarations of conflicts of interest that have been submitted, and I don't see anybody else moving. So we go now to the adoption of the agenda. Councillor Leblanc, seconded by Councillor Alain, that we adopt the agenda as it was presented. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. So carried. We go to item number 7, presentations, inquiries and petitions. First of all, inquiries by council members for Kodiak Regional RCMP. Welcome this evening, Mr. Staff, Staff Sergeant, dignified replacement. It was much more Anglophones at the time when I was there. So are there any questions are there any questions for the Staff Sergeant tonight from the on the behalf of councillors? I see no lights, so it seems that you are freed for the rest of the evening, unless you have information that you want to give us. No, that's okay. I'll see you. Have a good evening. You can tell Superintendent Beauchesne, tell him that we don't understand why he is complaining. We never have any questions for him. So now we go to questions by members of the public. So we go now to the adoption of minutes of the regular council meeting held on June 13th, 2016. Councillor Cormier, seconded by Councillor Arsenault. Are there any questions? on this regular council meeting of the 13th of June? No lights, so all those in favor, of the adoption of the minutes of the regular council meeting, signify by saying aye, contrary minded nay. So it is carried. Item 10, motions, nominations. 10.1, culture, leisure, and community life, multi-generational community complex. Thank you. Good evening. And as the mayor already mentioned at the beginning of the meeting tonight, in this multi-generational community complex, in order to continue the analysis of the needs of the community, you have before you a recommendation to proceed with the firm's BC2 GCBDU for an amount of $119,385 plus HTST. So there will be an RFP. We've received 3 submissions with assessment by a committee, experts, external members, and internal members, and the recommendation is unanimous for this. So as this is recommendation and approval tonight. For the reading of the resolution, Mr. Thibodeau. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That council award the tender for the preparation of a functional and technical program for a multi-generational community complex in Dieppe to the BC2 and GCBD consortium at the cost of $119,385 plus HST, and authorize this expenditure to be defrayed from account number 3-3-30-12-7604, General Capital Budget, a new ice surface. So moved. Moved by Councillor Thibodeau, seconded by Councillor Brideau. On the question. No questions? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Contrary minded, nay. Carried as presented. Item 10.2, nominations. So council has set up an ad hoc committee with a mandate. It was requested to recruit people from the community to fill these positions on the committee. We invited the public to submit names. You have names before you, and there'll also be a member of municipal council on this committee. So it will be 8 residents, 4 men, 4 women, pursuant to our policy. And then we will nominate a member of council to sit on the committee. So tonight is to create the committee. And once again, this is the ad hoc committee on the promotion of democracy and citizen participation, which is a committee which will be active for 1 year, if my memory serves me right. So it will be the beginning of this process for all of us. So for the reading of the resolution, Councillor Godet. That the Municipal Council appoint the following persons as members of the Ad Hoc Committee for the Promotion of Democracy and Citizen Participation. Normand Arsenault, Michel Sebeliveau, Laure Bourdon, Jolie Dallaire, Nadine Duguay, Monsef Lacroix, Diane Lévesque, Taha Maraous, and Councillor Roger Leblanc. So moved. Seconded by Councillor Cormier. On the question. No questions? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Contrary minded, nay. Carried. Next item, 10.3, planning and development. In this rezoning for Horizon Place, Sunset and Sainte-Thérèse Streets, the developer had to meet 2 conditions, a landscaping plan and an architectural plan. Staff received the documents and he meets those conditions, so we are asking council to approve these 2 conditions, thereafter to read the bylaw. So for the reading of the resolution, Councillor Béliveau. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Further to the rezoning application relating to zoning bylaw Z-10-1, the Dieppe Municipal Council accepts the landscaping plan attached to this resolution under Appendix A, entitled Planting Plan, prepared by the firm of Veridis and dated June 2016, which meets the following condition 2.6 accepted by the Municipal Council on June 13, 2016. 2.6. That a detailed landscaping plan be submitted for Council's approval before the third reading of Bylaw Z-10-1, and that the lands be developed in general conformity with the said approved landscaping plan, and that Council accept the architectural plans attached to this resolution under Appendix B, entitled Plans architecturaux, demande de rosonnage, place Horizon, prepared by the firm of Architectes 4 Limité and dated June 27, 2016, which meet the following condition 3.2 accepted by the Municipal Council on June 13, 2016. 3.2. That detailed architectural plans indicating architectural features such as dimensions and building design be submitted for Council's approval before the third reading of the bylaw Z-10-1, and that the lands be developed in general conformity with the said approved architectural plans. So moved, Mr. Mayor. Moved by Councillor Brideau, seconded by Councillor Thibodeau. On the question. All those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Carried. 10.3.2. Yeah, before you a request for a rezoning, and it's to set dates on the 11th of July next, and a presentation at a public hearing, which would be set for the 12th of September at 7 p.m. at the Dieppe City Hall. Also to ask the advice of the Planning Advisory Committee. The zoning is for the site of the new school that was announced by the province, and it's to make sure that the site is in a designated zoning for the school purposes. So it's identifying dates and to kickstart the process. Thank you. For the reading of the resolution, Mr. Alain. The Council schedules a public presentation on July 11, 2016 at 6 p.m. at the Dieppe City Hall to present a proposed change to the Generalized Land Use Map, Municipal Development Plan Bylaw Z-9, relating to the properties identified under PIDs 706-22683 and 706-22212, situated along the Dieppe Boulevard extension in order to permit the development of a new school, and that Council schedule a public hearing on September 12, 2016 at 7 p.m. at the Dieppe City Hall to hear the objections relating to the proposed changes to the zoning map, zoning bylaw Z-10, relating to the said rezoning project, requests the written views of the Planning Advisory Committee, and extend the deadline pursuant to Article 66(3) on the Community Planning Act to September 12, 2016. So moved. Moved by Councillor Alain, seconded by Councillor Nolan. On the question. All those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. The resolution is carried as presented. 10.3.3. Here is another rezoning application to set dates, public presentation and hearing by Foxland Development Incorporated for the 11th of July to modify the generalized land use map and for changes to the zoning map for mixed residential housing and future commercial projects. And also the 12th of September, a public hearing at 7 p.m. at Dieppe City Hall to ask, and also to ask the views of the Planning Advisory Committee. So it's to start this process. For the reading of the resolution, Councillor Leblanc. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Council schedule a public presentation on July 11, 2016 at 6 p.m. at the Dieppe City Hall to present a proposed change to the Generalized Land Use Map, Municipal Development Plan Bylaw Z-9 relating to the properties identified under PIDs 706-22667, 706-22676, 009-24688 and 009-24316, situated east of Dieppe Boulevard in order to permit the development of mixed residential housing and the future commercial projects. And that Council schedule a public hearing on September 12, 2016 at 7 p.m. at the Dieppe City Hall to hear the objections relating to the proposed changes to the zoning map, zoning bylaw Z-10, relating to the said rezoning project, request the written reviews of the Planning Advisory Committee, and extend the deadline pursuant to Article 66, brackets 3 of the Community Planning Act to September 12, 2016. So moved. Moved by Councillor Leblanc, seconded by Councillor Cormier on the question. All those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. 10.3.3 has also been carried as presented. Now, Public Works 10.4. So here we have a tender award for a compact loader. There was an RFP option of renting for and purchase. This is to be able to see if we can use it during the 4 months. So it meets our needs. And it is much more flexible. And as you can see in the picture, you can see the model. This is to proceed with the purchase with the balance due to Groupe Dinaco Machinery in the amount of $61,995. And the amount plus $28,000 for leasing cost for a total of $89,995 plus HST. So it's to acquire this piece of equipment. For the reading of the resolution, Madame Arsenault. That Council award the tender for the purchase of a compact loader for the Public Works Division to Groupe Dinaco Machinery at the total cost of $89,995 plus HST, which includes the leasing cost of $28,000 plus HST for a period of 4 months, and the balance in the amount of $61,995 plus HST. That Council Yes, you have to read the second paragraph. It's part of the resolution. That Council authorizes expenditure be defrayed from account number 1-2-35-60-2565, General Operating Budget Equipment Program. So moved. Thank you. Moved by Madame Arsenault, seconded by Councillor Nolan. On the question, Councillor Alain. Mr. Mayor, when I look at this, it says we've received just one proposal. I'm pretty sure that Groupe Dinaco Machinery is from out of province. Is there no one else, no other business in New-Brunswick that can do this job? Mr. Book. Well, the specs were mentioned properly in the RFP. Other companies could have submitted, but this one is the only one that did submit a proposal. We clearly defined what we wanted as a piece of equipment. For example, a trackless that we use for the sidewalks is a little bit more limited in the type of work that it can do. So at one point, maybe there are companies for one reason or another, we're not interested. But we did specify the details. It's something that happens once in a while. Thank you, Councillor Leblanc. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Looking at the resolution, the piece of equipment, does it cost $89,995 or is it, I see that the leasing costs, do we add the $28,000? No, it includes, the total cost is $89,995. Okay, $28,000 is included. And also, Mr. Mayor, is it possible to use this to clean, for example, the fire hydrants? Is it possible to make the kind of job like that? Our intention is to use it around the 1604 place where we need to remove the snow immediately. So this is the type of equipment that will be able to move her fairly easily in smaller spaces. So yes, probably it could clear out the fire hydrants because right now we can't put the snow in the parking lot to get rid of it after, so we're going to have to be very creative. And this little piece of equipment is going to help us to do that. Okay, yeah, if it does 1604, then there might not be time for anything else. So, thank you, Monsieur Leblanc. If there are no other questions, all those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Resolution is carried as moved. Now, next item, municipal bylaws. Sorry, 11.1. Procedural bylaws concerning the committees of council. So we have to do the first reading by titles and numbers only. No, sorry, that's it's integral total reading. Councillor Nolan. So by titles. Yeah, that's how we do. We do it by section titles and the numbers only. We don't read the whole text. Okay, so 11.1.1, bylaw number 8-4.1, 2016, procedural bylaw of the City of Dieppe concerning the committees of council and the external commissions, authorities, and committees. Pursuant to the authority vested in it by the Municipalities Act, RSNB 1973, Chapter M22, the Council of the City of Dieppe duly assembled and acts as follows. 1. Definitions. 2. Application. 3. Conflict of interest. 4. Establishment and mandate of committees of council. 5. Appointments. 6. Duration of mandate. 7. Participation. Notice of meetings and agendas of committee meetings is 8. 9 is decisions and proceedings of committees of council, 10 minutes. 11, meetings open to the public. 12, meetings closed to the public. 13, presentation of suggestions, recommendations, notices, opinions, and or minutes. 14, code of conduct and corrective measures. 15, other procedures. Repeal. First reading by title June 13, 2016. Second reading by title June 13, 2016. So moved in its entirety by title and numbers only. Thank you, Mr. Knowles. Seconded by Councillor Cormier on the question. No questions? All those in favor of the reading in its entirety of the procedural bylaw A-4.1 2016, signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. So the bylaw is carried in its reading. So we're going to go by third reading by title only. Bylaw number 8-4-1 2016, procedural bylaw of the City of Dieppe concerning the committees of council and the external commissions, authorities, and committees. So moved by title third reading. Third and final reading by title, seconded by Councillor Cormier on the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Bylaw A-4.1 2016 is carried. And third reading by the Council. 11.2 Bylaw A8 2016-1 respecting the pension plan for the employees of the City of Dieppe. So we had the first and second readings at the last meeting. Now for the reading in its entirety by section titles and numbers only. Who is ready to do the reading? Mr. Thibodeau. Let's share the tasks. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Bylaw, the municipality of Dieppe concerning the pension plan for the employees of the City of Dieppe. Annex A, 68838, established in collaboration with the London Life. 1 definition. 2 the plan. 3 membership. 4 contributions. 5 normal retirement date. 6 deferred pension or pension on early retirement. 7 termination of employment. 8 death. 9 portability of benefits. 10 normal form of pension. 11 optional forms of pension. 12 assignment. 13 evidence of age. 14 cash settlement small pensions. 15 change or termination of the pension plan. 16 marriage or common law partnership breakup. 17 disclosure. 8 additional provisions. 'So moved, Your Worship, by title and numbers. Seconded by Councillor Brideau on the question. All those in favor of the resolution, the bylaw, reading in its entirety, signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. So bylaw A8 2016 is carried in its entirety. Now, by title only, 11.2.2, third and last reading by title only. Bylaw number A-8, brackets 1-2016, a bylaw of the municipality of Dieppe respecting the pension plan for the employees of the City of Dieppe. So moved. Third reading by title only. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Thibodeau, seconded by Councillor Brideau. Third and last reading. All those in favor of this bylaw A-8 2016, signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Bylaw A8 2016-1 is carried in third reading. Next bylaw, 11.3.1, bylaw Z91 concerning municipal development plan, once again for Horizon Place. Reading in its entirety, Mr. Councillor Leblanc. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Bylaw number Z-9-1, a bylaw to amend a bylaw relating to the City of Dieppe Municipal Development Plan bylaw. The Council of the City of Dieppe under the authority vested in it by the Community Planning Act RSNB 1973 C12 enacts as follows. A bylaw relating to the City of Dieppe Municipal Bylaw Development Bylaw, being bylaw number Z9, enacted on the 26th day of October 2015 and filed in the Westmoreland County Registry Office as number 355-37340 on December 15, 2015, is hereby amended as follows. Schedule A1, entitled Generalized Land Use Map, whenever it is mentioned in the text of the City of Dieppe Municipal Development Plan bylaw, is amended by the map hereto attached as a Schedule A-1-1. So moved in its entirety, Mr. Mayor. Seconded by Councillor Nolan. On the question. No questions. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Bylaw Z-9-1 is carried in its entirety. Now we go to the third and final reading by title only. Bylaw number Z-9-1, a bylaw to amend the bylaw relating to the City of Dieppe Municipal Development Plan bylaw. So moved in third reading by title only. Seconded by Councillor Nolan once again. That we accept in its third and final reading, bylaw Z-9-1, concerning the municipal plan bylaw for Dieppe Horizon. So it is carried in third reading. Thank you. Now, 11.4, zoning bylaw Z-10-1, Horizon Place, for the reading in its entirety. Mr. Councillor Cormier. Thank you, Mr. May. Bylaw number Z-10-1, a bylaw to amend the City of Dieppe zoning bylaw. The Council of the City of Dieppe, under the authority vested in it by the Community Planning Act, RSNB 1973, C12, enacts as follows. The City of Dieppe zoning bylaw, being bylaw number Z-10, enacted on the 26th day of October 2016 and filed in the Westmoreland County Registry Office as number 355-37357 on December 15th, 2016, is hereby amended as follows. Schedule A, entitled City of Dieppe Zoning Map, whenever it is mentioned in the text of the zoning bylaw, is amended by the map hereto attached as Schedule A1. And so moved in its entirety. Moved by Councillor Cormier, seconded by Councillor Alain, that we accept in its reading in its entirety. No questions. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Carried. Reading in its entirety for the zoning bylaw Z-10-1, Place Horizon. Now, for the last third and final reading by title only, bylaw number Z-10-1, a bylaw to amend the City of Dieppe zoning bylaw. So moved. Third reading. Moved by Councillor Cormier, seconded by Councillor Alain. Any questions? No questions. All those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. The zoning bylaw Z-10-1 Horizon Place is carried. 12. Do we have notices of motion? No. So we now go to the inquiries and announcements by members of council. I'm getting my watch ready. I remind you, 4 minutes. And we start with, no, we'll start on the other side for a change. Monsieur Alain. I have 3 announcements and 1 request for information. First of all, I'd like to congratulate a young hockeyer, Philip Myers, from Dieppe. Won on the Huskies, a fantastic season last week. He received a call from Hockey Canada to invite him to the summer camp of the Junior Canadian, or Canada Juniors. It's good for our young hockey players here. It's a good example of perseverance. Also, I had the pleasure of participating on behalf of council here at the SLA lateral. It's a Lou Gehrig disease. It was the Greater Moncton Walk. It was on the 18th of June, Saturday. It makes people aware of this illness and to raise funds and in order to give hope to those who are touched by this illness. Also, in discussions with Councillor Brideau, Noland, and Arsenault, we had some discussions with people on Sainte Croix and Virginie streets. We received a petition on the 16th of May. I think we talked about at about 50% of the signatories of the petition. So there is a challenge there. And in the next couple of weeks, we will meet the groups of people of those streets to establish an action plan. And my request for information, I received some calls lately from residents of Chartersville and Bourke Streets. I'd like to thank, first of all, the residents for their patience. There was a lot of construction. It wasn't really easy for a lot of people. And I also want to mention the Birchill Construction. They're great collaboration. I think they helped some businesses that were affected by all these construction. So my question, is it possible to have a report? It's a big project, and maybe it's going to last long. So if the CEO could give us a report. Madame Spencer is the person who's responsible for the project. With pleasure, Mr. Misham. So Councillor Alain, since rain has stopped, the work is going forward. They're now working on the sanitary sewer. They're almost at the Chartersville by the water course. They're going to be replacing the water mains, and then the culverts are going to be replaced. So they've lost up to now 5 days due to rain, but the end of the project is still scheduled for the end of September. It's so important because there's a business at the corner of Chartersville and Bourke. So we have to be in constant communication with the individuals. So we should be able to talk with the that business person. It's important because at the end of the day, there's disappointment, there's customers that go there, and we have to be aware of that. Yes, we are very aware of the situation, and we thank the public, like you mentioned, for their patience. We know that it's not easy, and we encourage them to talk to the inspector on site for any type of questions. He knows exactly what's going on, so they can always call the town, but if they want a quick answer, they should go talk to the inspector on site. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Madame Conseillère Arsenault, I have 3 points that I'd like to mention. The first is that I was to a support to single parents. Nancy Harding had founded this in 1982, so that's 34 years ago. And it's closing at the end of the month in a couple of days. Her objective was to help these single parent families. She had experienced some things, and it was something that she held at heart. And a couple of families have single parents, and it's something that happens to almost everybody. And sometimes, a couple of times, these people have experience, and it's sometimes that these people have a great determination and a positive outlook on life. And a good example of this, it was this person that was being supported by Mrs. Kathy Rogers. So I raised my heart to both of these women because they've lived through difficult times, and they've been able to succeed in the community. So I admire them because really they've done beautiful work, both of them. The two other things, I went to the City Hall for CGS Southeast, and these are youth cooperatives, service cooperatives. I found it was very good. It was Brigitte Savoie and Luc Bourgeois were the facilitators. the MCs. I think it was excellent that it's our youth who are involved in doing some work in our community and to having some type of entrepreneurship. I found that really nice. And then Expansion Dieppe was helping them. It was a very good press conference that we had here. And then we had another press conference that was on hydraulics at Malenfant. And that press conference is something that was important for me because the owner of this it's been in this the business has been in their family since its inception, and it's in the neighborhood. And even if it's my neighborhood, and even if I am a general counsellor, it's still very close to my heart. So I was really proud to participate. Mr. Mayor was there, and Marc Melançon, our city manager, and at the same time there were representatives of Expansion Dieppe and of the provincial and federal government. So I found it was very nice, and we can see that things were developing very well, and that people felt really good about it. Thank you. Councillor Gaudette was there equally to make sure. Yes, it was a very beautiful announcements. The participation of federal and provincial government, a total amount of $800,000 to encourage productivity, development, and it's also sponsored by Expansion Dieppe, Coopérative Jeunesse. So congratulations to our friends of Expansion Dieppe for their direct involvement. It'll basically contribute nicely to the regional economy. Monsieur Thibaudot. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wanted to talk about Coopérative Jeunesse, but since my colleague already has mentioned it, I won't mention it again. I have another point. I was at the opening and the closing of the International Francophone Forum Jeunesse, and I was very impressed by the projects that the youth were able to show us. There were kiosks at the Dieppe Community College where we saw very innovative projects, and I think that we have to congratulate the youth from here and elsewhere who participated in this. I think the future of the planet is in good hands. Thank you. Thank you, Monsieur le Conseiller Nolan. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. During Father's Day last Sunday, I participated in the commemorative race. It was a nice race, nice fundraising for the community. $18,000 were raised and given to the schools where the RCMP Kodiak has agents. So $18,000 was excellent. Congratulations to Nadine Larch, one of the main organizers, and her team. Also, the fire index in the province, it's very high. So if you're going to make fires the weekend, nice weather, make sure that you check the government of New-Brunswick website to make sure that you do have the right to make a fire. For example, until 12 tomorrow, fires are prohibited. So make sure that you check before you have fun. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Nolan. Councillor Brideau. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't have much other than to wish a good summer to our residents of Greater Dieppe. Also to make sure that they're careful on our roads and streets. There's a lot of construction. We ask you to be patient, not just for one day, but for the whole summer. We're told that construction is going well. There have not been any accidents. We don't want any. And I'd like to remind people, once again, who have four-legged animals who walk around the streets, and I mean they have little green bags. Make sure that they pick up the little green bags. don't leave them in the streets. It's not clean, and it's not something that's welcome, all that, but have a nice summer. Thank you, Councillor Brideau. Councillor Cormier. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to wish a good holiday to the youth, all the youth who have ended school on Friday, and to invite them to be careful, and to teachers, a good period without a pay. And I'd also like to congratulate all the graduates, all those who received their secondary school diplomas. And I had the opportunity, the chance, the luck to be there at the celebrations at the community college, the Anglophone, where we had, I think, 24, 25 youth from Dieppe who received their diplomas at the college. I also like to invite the citizens to the Canada Day celebrations at the Dieppe Community College. Thank you, Mr. Cormier. Councillor Blanc. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councillor Cormier basically said everything I wanted to say, but I wanted to congratulate all the new graduates at different levels, school, college, and wish to all the residents, the administration, the colleagues, a good summer. Thank you, Monsieur Leblanc. Mr. Coursier-Godet. I think Councillor Cormier stole what I wanted to say. Yeah, when you're at the end of the line, that's what happens. No, I just wanted to wish citizens a good Canada Day, and to remember that Friday night, the 1st of July, starting at 6 o'clock, there's an activity at the community college. There'll be orchestra, music for the evening, and at the end of the evening, there'll be some fireworks that will be visible from the 3 communities, so it's something to see. And it's a good idea to be there. The last point is that I think that I receive often through emails all the announcements of the city of Dieppe, and I think that we should encourage people more to be part of our email system so that they can receive all the announcements, because all the details are there, and it's very easy to see what goes on when we receive emails 2 or 3 days ahead of time. Thank you, Mr. Godet. And in the same vein, I encourage people to, for those who have access to internet, to go see our Facebook page or the Twitter feed, and to look for all the logo of the city of that, because once again, there's a lot of information pertaining to the city of Dieppe. And for members of council, well, when there's people who complain, we can find them there too, and sometimes we can maybe avoid or prevent things there. So I also obviously would like to congratulate all our youth who graduated and who finished classes for a couple of weeks. Please be safe, be considerate for your neighbors, for cars, for the construction. But I do wish a good summer to everyone. And for Municipal Council, it's also an active period for members of council, even if we have fewer ones. The next meeting, I remind you, is the 11th of July, starting at 6 p.m. In summer, July and August, we start an hour earlier. And for our millions, thousands of internet subscribers, we encourage you, 11th of July at 6 p.m. Have a good evening to all. Thank you.